Hello my stamping friends, it's Sandy here, and today's share is this cute little box. I have been making these for little stocking stuffers and stuff, and I saw one online and it was really small, so I needed one a little bit bigger, so I reworked it so that I could get a little bit more goodness inside this little guy. So let me share with you how I made it. We're going to start with a 5 3/4 by 8.5 piece of the Year of Cheer designer paper. So that means that you can get 2 of these boxes out of one 12 by 12 piece of designer paper, and you'll still have a couple of cutoffs left over that are big enough to make cards. And I just used a couple of other little things. I had a piece of basic black 2.5 square, and what I did was I took the Merry Cafe and the Christmas and the Cheer, and I white embossed with my embossing powder and then heat set it. And just a hint, if you do them separately, you can get them closer together. When I put them all on the same handle, they were a little bit too far apart and they didn't fit very nicely into my stitch shapes. And so I used the stitch shapes framelits to do that, and it was the second from the smallest little guy right here. And then you also need a piece of old olive, and this is to do the 2 little mistletoe branches, and this is 2.5 by 3. And the mistletoe branches are these 2 little guys from the Pretty Pines Thinlits. The little white berry is created with the metal rimmed pearls, and then my bow is created with the real red 1/8 solid ribbon from the holiday catalog. Okay, so this box is ridiculously easy to make. However, I know that a visual is a really good idea when we are going to be doing lots of scoring. So I have one here for you because, of course, it's hard to see on designer paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the short side at the top, and we're going to score at 1 4 3/4, or you can go 1 and turn it the other way and score 1 again. Then we're going to turn it with the wide side at the top. We are going to score in the middle at 4, and then we're going to score at 8. And we're eventually going to cut these 2 little guys off, and this is the tab that holds the box closed. When we're all finished with this, we're going to come down and we're going to do 2 more score lines down here, and these are going to be the cut lines for the bottom. And then we're going to use our ruler and our stylus, and we're going to do these 2 V's, and that's what creates the front of the box. Okay, my stylus came from my Simply Scored, and I'm going to use a ruler for the center part. I'm going to use my Stampin' trimmer, my scoring attachment, for all the rest. And just a word, if you score on the good side of the paper, you will have nice, even, and unbroken folds in your designer paper. If you score on the back side, the fibers are going to kind of break up and it's going to get a little raw on you. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to use the 1 inch mark on this side so that I've got more paper to hold on to. And using my scoring tip, I am going to score at 1 inch on both of the long sides. Then I'm going to turn it, and I am going to score it in the center at 4. And then all the way over here, you got to pull the arm out on your Stampin' trimmer to get to 8 and do your little guy there. Then back up to 2, and this time we're just going to score up to the score line that goes across, and that ends up being at 5.5, just in case you are looking for the marks on this ruler. And then again at 6, we're going to do the same thing. Start at the bottom and score up to where it crosses. So now we're going to use our ruler and our stylus, and you want to line up at the bottom here at the 2 inch mark, and then over on the edge at your 1 inch line at the top. And so there and there, and you want to score that. And I like to go a couple of times just to make sure that I get it. And then we're going to do this score line, so we're going from the bottom at 2 to the top at 4 where the score line crosses. So again, it's up here, and then line up your score line down here. And remember, you're only scoring on the inside. You're not going outside of that 1 inch border. You don't want to go all the way to the top here because that'll mess up your top or your bottom. Okay, so number 3, the next part of the V, again, you're going to start at 4 at the top, and you're going to score down to where is it? The 6-inch line down here. I told you it was hard to see on designer paper. It's brutal. Okay, so I just did this one. Started at 4 and came down to 6. And the last one, you're going to go from 6 up to the score line at 8. Just like that. Then grab your snips and take out these 2 little notches, and this is on the 8.5-inch side. You're just going to give them a little snip. Now there's a top and the bottom. So at the bottom there are 3 solid lines. You're going to cut those, and by cutting those create the bottom of the box. So you're going to cut at 2, you're going to cut at 4, and you're going to cut at 6, and just up to the 1-inch cross line. Flip it around to the other side, and you're going to cut this score at 4, the one that's in the middle. Clear as mud so far? So the next step, we need to do some folding and some burnishing, and this is really important. You want to burnish these lines so that you get nice crisp folds on the box. So you'll notice the tab on the first one, I folded it in, and then I'm coming to the center and I'm going to do a valley fold on this one. And burnishing really tightens that up for you. Then for the top, I'm going to fold these in for now and burnish them. And the one with the 3 slits that we did at 2, 4, and 6 is the bottom of the box, or is going to become the bottom of the box. Now there's 4 pieces, and you want to fold that in. So once that's all done, you want to take your triangles and you want to make mountain folds with them. And it's really important to do these cuts before you start, because you'll see as we start to do the fold, you need the release, and if you don't have that cut, you're going to tear your paper. So fold it under, give it a burnish, and then fold the next one. Give it a burnish. Number 3 over here. And number 4. See, it's not really that hard. You just need some good directions, right? There we go. So before we get too carried away with anything else, we are going to glue this closed. So I'm going to use a little bit of multi-purpose glue on my little tab here, and we're going to fold this closed. And I like to use the multi-purpose glue because it gives you a few seconds before it sets that you can line everything up, and that's important when you're building this because it needs to be square. And so you want to give that a good rub, and we're going to let that set for a second. But while we're doing that, we are going to corner round the top. And so the top is up here. Here's my V, and then I've got my 4 little pieces down here. This is the bottom, this is the top. So you don't want to corner round your bottom. You're going to stick it into the quarter rounder at the top of your box maker and round those little guys. Okay, now we should be ready to get into the base. So if you push the sides, that opens the box. You want to push 2 opposite tabs down, and then you want to add some adhesive, and then press down the other 2 tabs. And you have, again, a few minutes to square this up and make sure that everything is touching. Sometimes I find that one of the tabs on the inside doesn't kind of play along. So then you can take something and pop it on the inside and just push on those little tabs and make sure that that glue is getting it done for you. And there is a tiny little gap, don't worry about it. And so what I usually do is set this down for a minute or 2 and just let it dry, but I like to make sure that it's really square before I do that. And then once it's dry, if you do have a tiny little overhang like I have right here, you can snip that with your scissors. While we're waiting for that to dry, we can do our little bow. So what I do is I do a little loop in each hand, and then I take the left loop over top of the right, down and up through the center, and then just pull my little tails until I get it the size that I want. Just like that. And then I trim it away from the spool. So that's all ready to go. And then you need your sentiment, and you're going to need one of the small, I've got one left in here, and no fingernails to get it out. Get my tweezers, here we go. They're slippery little guys, these little metal pearls. All right. So you want to add some glue to the back left corner of your sentiment, and then I'm attaching the leaves into the glue, and I'm going to add some more over top of this one just to make sure. And I overlap them just a bit. Then I'm going to turn them over again, and to ensure that they stay there, I put a dimensional right over top. Kind of double whammy. Then you're going to remove the protective covers, and this can get a little sticky. I'm not going to lie, I got glue on a couple fingers. Turn this back over, and you're going to attach it to the front of the box. Right about there. And this is where I decided it needed a little pop of color. So the first thing I did was I removed the backing from my pearl, and just in case that's not real sticky, I added a glue dot, and I attached that right at the edge of the sentiment, and then push it down just a hair. You got to leave room for the bow. So then I added a little bit of glue. And where did my little bow go? There it is. Added my bow right over top of it. And there we go, we're all done. There you go, there's a fast and easy little self-closing box. And I was practicing yesterday. I just wanted to show you that glue fits in there. Glue dots fit in there. Snail fits in there, as does Fast Fuse. So there's all kinds of little cool Stampin' Up! Ideas that you can gift your friends. I'm using this for something else, but by the time I finish all these videos, I'm going to have quite a few of these, so yahoo! Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and this little box happens to be project number 5 in this month's Pretty Little Parcels class. And in order to get a copy of that, simply place a $50 order with me, and I will send you the class for free. So thanks so much for stopping in. I hope you enjoyed my project today, and happy stamping and box making. Until next time, bye now.